Hey, welcome to our farewell podcast, and this is our last podcast till the next one. I'm your host, Rob. This is the last time I'm doing this.
Is this our first farewell tour?
And we have Greg. You're not drumming again till the next time. It's your farewell.
It's next time. Actually, it will probably be this afternoon.
I was going to say, it's going to be pretty quick.
So you're stopping your farewell tour pretty early.
That's right.
And we have one of our beloved regulars, and it's his last time on until the next time. It's Patrick.
Hello.
And as you know why I'm making fun of that, it's because of the Eagles doing their last farewell tour, which might be it might not. But
wait, what?
The Eagles are going a farewell tour now.
Who's left?
Don Henley.
Don Henley.
Timothy B. Schmidt, right? Is he still?
Yep.
He's still. Yeah.
Joe Walsh's brother.
Joe Walsh. It was Joe Walsh. It was Joe
they got Deacon Frey or
Felder.
Glenn Frey's son is playing, and they've also got I forgot there was somebody else. Oh, what's his name? The country guy. I can't think of his name now. Big country artist. He's playing with them, which I thought was
he'll be on their next tour. So.
An odd mix of people.
Well, I mean, the Eagles are always been kind of like half country.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
It's that.
America
California.
ripped them off, even though America was before them. I always say that. But Greg, you wanted to go on a rant a little bit about something.
Yeah, let's go for it.
I wanted to talk about T-shirts and the way they express people's feelings, and if people, I think it's just a thing. Well, I'm going to show what I believe in by wearing this T-shirt, because I've seen some really interesting ones when I'm out. I saw one the other day with a lady wore, said, "Thou shalt not rile," and then it had like a mood dash verse something. It's pretty clever. Mm-hmm. And I was talking about this earlier before we started. There's an old guy had a shirt on. Why anybody would have given him this, or he bought it, and it said, "I finally bought a toilet brush. Long story short, I went back to toilet paper." Now here's a guy. Here's a guy pushing his cart at like a mile an hour barely, and why he thought that was a good idea to wear that to a grocery store is beyond me.
Someone just put it on him.
Ken Shabby.
But I think it's cool.
And
and there's kind of a phenomenon now. It's become an urban thing, and I see it a lot. And it's mainly, it's mainly black people. It's cool. I don't know how it started, but they're wearing heavy metal rock shirts. They're wearing Metallica and Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, and it's like, I think that's very interesting. I don't know. I think
I have no idea. Like, I think there's two camps in those kind of things. Is where like I've had friends or known friends who were very young, and they would like wear like a Def Leppard T-shirt,
right?
And it'd be like, I can't imagine if you even.
They don't listen
to
who
I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because I love it when people, I think people have eclectic taste, but I see more and more like these, you see these reaction videos on YouTube where they'll have like people from, different kind of cultural backgrounds, and they'll hear something from like you'll have someone who hears heavy metal music for the first time, and they're like, oh, I really like this, or somebody hears classical music, they're just like, oh, I didn't know that. And I think maybe that's cross pollinating, and people
maybe.
Or I've told this story before. I've written it out.
Ice-T was a metal guy.
I saw a younger girl. She had to be like maybe 14, 15 maybe. And she had this old, beat-up, faded Poison shirt. Now, she could not have ever watched
Where'd you get it? My grandma gave it to me.
Yeah, who knows? They just pick it up. Oh, it looks cool. It's got a cool design.
There's an old concert tees thing where people wear them ironically.
I'm walking, and this kid's got an Iron Maiden Number of the Beast shirt on, and I'm like, yeah, I was at that show. And I'm surprised he didn't say you don't have a cane. But no, he looks at me. I go, yeah, I was at that show. That's great. He looks at me and goes, oh, I thought this was anime.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like, go home.
That's interesting.
Take that shirt off. Get rid of it.
It'd be like some of those guys about wearing combat stuff.
That's true.
Really,
and a lot of it is the artwork, though, because like those heavy metal albums have crazy artwork. So,
but I mean, like tour shirts and things like that.
You shouldn't be a snob about it. If you like it, you like it.
People wear tour shirts, and it's like, well, I want to remember this. It was a good night. I had fun. I think.
Paid my $50 for my shirt.
But I don't know. I just been thinking about that lately since T-shirts actually became fashionable.
Right.
And the different ways that people, how they say, be proud of whatever. And like, I don't wear drum shirts for the most part because I think it's kind of silly for me, like.
Just like a shirt that just has a drum on it. Says drum.
Yeah. But I mean,
you should get one and wear it because it'd be hilarious.
I do have one. Though. I do have a couple of drum shirts that every now and then I'll wear them. One says, it's got like 9 reasons why you're a drummer. So it doesn't have any picture on it. You have to read the stuff. And it's like, what LLRR means. And then, you can never have too many cymbals. And the classic line it's got on there, it's like, you put $3,000 worth of stuff in a $1,000 car, drive 100 miles to make $30 or something.
You ever want to really, really meet a drummer, order a pizza.
Right. And then I found this other shirt, and I don't want to get rid of it. I found it at a Goodwill, and all I can think of is some drummer's girlfriend got rid of it after he broke up with her. Because what it is, it's the 26 drum rudiments listed on this T-shirt. And I just think it's great because if you forget your rudiments, you can always just, look at your shirt.
But you remember those old stores you'd go into back in the day, be like, I think you championed it, even though I said, where you just have the blank shirts, but they'd have on the wall designs, and you buy one, they get it, they'd iron it on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, and you can make that stuff easy now. Like, you can get that stuff, printed out on a, inkjet printer, but I have no idea how good they are.
Remember fabric crayons? That was like the old ones you can make your own. But I have like more of a collection of local band shirts than I have probably of, because I don't really go to any national concerts.
And it's also become fashionable, I think. It's like a leather jacket. It doesn't look right until you've washed it and dried it about 100 times. And it starts to crack, and the design starts to get all goofy looking.
Yeah. See, for a while I was big into comic book T-shirts. Like Empire Con, I'd go down, I'd get a shirt every week.
I have a couple of nice Superman shirts. One's like it's got blood dripping on it, and it's like probably from the death of Superman or something. It's a really cool logo. So, I mean, every now and then.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space shirt. You wore on
there
the
you
show.
go. Yeah.
The what?
Your Killer Clowns from Outer Space shirt.
I do have that one, yep. Debbie got me those.
Who did, of course, who did the theme to Killer Clowns in Outer Space?
I don't remember.
The Dickies.
Ah.
That was one of those, like, fun, early, like, kind of poppy punk bands from California.
Okay, I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
It's like Nerf Herder, I think, did Buffy.
Nerf Herder did the Buffy theme. Yeah.
Or Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, another one where all they did was...
They just did covers.
But they did them, like, just fast, really fast.
Yeah, they just did fast punk covers of everything.
It's like, you think, like, you join a band like that, can you play? We don't want you.
That's an interesting phenomenon, too, is like, songs that like, nobody cared about till they showed up in a movie or something.
Yeah, or songs that people forgot they loved until they showed up in something.
There's a big thing now. I just watched it. It was on the Today Show or something. And it was like, and yes, folks, I do get up that early.
I was going to say, you just aged yourself.
But Dave Garroway wasn't on it anymore. But Tracy Chapman's song, Fast Cars, some country guy.
I saw the video. Yeah,
and now it's like huge again. And she's like, I don't believe this.
Yeah.
Hey, send me the royalties. You could do. Anybody wants to take
I got these checks. I don't know why.
Send us the royalties.
Yeah.
Send the yacht to pick us up or whatever.
Well, that's great though, because a good song is a good song, and that's another one of those things that proves it. And he didn't do much to it. He pretty much plays it as is. He keeps the tempo the same, and it's not. He doesn't try to rock it up or anything. It's pretty cool.
No, well, the carnival has its principles, though. We are very artistic, but remember, this is sponsored by Lime Burritos.
I don't know about you. I'm very autistic, actually. But.
I don't want to know. I could probably list what I am.
Let's be fair.
The rest of the thing there, Greg. Don't be naughty there. But one thing I wanted to talk about, fortunately, not fortunately at all, but Alan Arkin passed away, and I'm saying fortunately because he lived a long life, considering yeah. And I just watched. This brings up something Patrick and I was talking about when he was saying we're not talking about your idol. And okay, it's my show, but we love Patrick, so we're not going to talk about her. But you mentioned something. We were talking about Succession, about you need somebody. And what I watched literally the day before Alan Arkin died was Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my friends years ago made that criticism saying, there's nobody likable. And this is before knowing one of the guys was a major perv. And I'm just going to dismiss that when he's got a smaller part, so.
Was he in, I have this movie, The Road to Wellville. Wasn't he in that? He played like a it's like
Alan Arkin?
I've seen
it's like a 19th century sanitarium.
No, you're thinking of Hopkins.
Well, Anthony Hopkins played the guy. Yeah,
he was Kellogg. He was Kellogg.
In that movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a good movie, though, actually.
It's like Casey Boyle's a great writer.
It's one of those things where history, you can't make up weirder stuff than like what really happened.
Right.
Like that whole
can I look at you? I'll look at your poop. Mine are huge and they smell. It's like, great, awesome. Have a pomegranate.
Yeah.
But the one part, see my weird sense of humor when like they're trying to steal the formula and all they're doing is like it's like John Cusack and they're trying to spitting it out. Because I still remember when I was in Russia, this one dinner I had there. And it's just something dumb like that cracked me up.
I'm getting whiplash from the business bouncing. You're going to say something about Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yeah, but Glengarry Glen Ross, and like I found it fascinating, and I guess like they use it in some business classes about what to do and what not to do. But every character, because Alan Arkin was in it, every character is really nobody likable.
Is that the Coffees for Closers ad?
Yes,
is that where that comes from? The line. Okay.
Yeah, that whole.
You know what you get first? The Cadillac.
Cadillac, second price set of steak knives, third prize are fired.
Yeah.
Is Jack Lemmon in that?
Yeah.
Yes, Jack Lemmon.
Shelley the Levine.
Shelley the Machine Levine.
Yeah.
I saw parts of it. They're sales guys or something.
It's like the big David Mamet play made into a movie, and that whole first part with Alec Baldwin was added to the movie because it just the play just kind of starts.
So do you think when Oppenheimer opens up, we're gonna have when that movie starts, you think we're gonna have like massive, war?
No, I think the movie's gonna bomb.
Hey, I want to do what they did in the movie.
I heard no CGI though. I heard that.
Yeah, no, and there was this thing going around where people saying that like Christopher Nolan, got them to set off an atomic bomb, and I'm like, no, it wasn't an atomic bomb. It was a really, really big bomb. It was it's like he wanted to film, he didn't want to use CG to show, this huge explosion.
Yeah, but he'd have to do that to do the mushroom part, wouldn't he?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
That's interesting. I didn't know that part.
He shot the whole movie in IMAX, which is his whole thing.
Right.
And then, Mission Impossible also shot in IMAX. And so, there's this whole big fight going on between Tom Cruise and Nolan about who's trying to grab all the IMAX theaters.
And that's hard. It's hard to move a 300-pound camera around.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I know I'm hearing just all about the technical stuff with this movie, but I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like, is it going to be? It feels like they want it to be a blockbuster, but it doesn't feel like a blockbuster kind of movie.
But the best would be like this.
But then again, if it doesn't make $1 billion, it's a flop.
Is it going to be a bomb, or is it going to be the bomb?
Yeah.
Well, I think I think it has a lot to do with the psychology of how he changed his opinion after he said he was going to do this, and then he regretted it. And all that kind of stuff. I think they look into that a lot.
Lighting off something like that. It was nothing for humanity or anything.
Well, you're trying to help your country, or the country.
I mean, the whole
kill
thing
1 billion people.
Yeah, it was. I guess it's like looking at things from the eyes of a scientist and then looking at it from the eyes of a human being.
Right.
Like, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Right. Good point.
And, is this what we want to do?
I think that's the crux of the.
And once you open Pandora's box, you're
and it's still
not like, well, we'll use it once, it'll go away because we know.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we're always like a couple steps away from. The
cockroach is ruling the world again.
And
we're really talking about Alan Arkin movies here.
Yeah, so let's get back.
But one thing is, anybody ever seen, my most underrated of his is Inspector Clouseau. And I think they did it because I think Sellers held out. He wanted more money.
I think I saw that.
He played
yeah.
Clouseau in a movie.
He did?
Yeah.
Which one?
Even you, Mr. Phil, Mr.
Not Mr. Phil.
It's just called Inspector Clouseau. I think it was in 1967. Okay. Because I don't know what the story was. They couldn't get Sellers, or he wanted more money, and he only did it once.
Well, yeah, and he famously hated that character after playing it a number of times, but then. I don't know. There's a lot of talk that Sellers was kind of not like a great guy.
That Sellers was.
He was kind of a. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is Arkin's, and like if you can find it, seek it out.
Now I have to see because he is one of the like most underrated comedic actors. I mean, this is original Second City guy. Like he's from the original run.
He was great in The Rocketeer.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah. I do too.
That is one of those movies that
for a Disney movie, I like it.
Yeah.
I remember the comic. The comic.
The comic was very different.
I really liked the comic because of Neil Adams' art.
Yeah.
That was
everything was stylistic and every character was.
And
somebody
Timothy
else.
Dalton was the villain, wasn't he in the movie?
Yeah, he was great. Yeah, he was.
He was really good.
Yeah.
But the one for me would always be probably Catch-22.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic.
The movie that broke up Simon and Garfunkel, by the way.
How's that?
Well, what happened was, I guess they were having their problems.
I think Simon and Garfunkel broke up.
They're going to break up anyways, but it's because what happened was Artie was working on it. They were working on Bridge on Troubled Waters, and it extended. It kept going out as movies do.
Yeah.
He was away longer and longer.
Mm.
So it made things worse. I mean, I think they would have broken up anyways.
Yeah.
Always.
Was it would be something else? But yeah, no, he was. Yeah, I mean, Alan Arkin was, and I still, I think he's probably one of this generation's best actors.
I think he was in the 7% Solution. I think he was Freud. Because Nicole Williamson was Holmes. Mm-hmm. Duvall was Moriarty. I think he was Freud.
Yeah. I should see that. I haven't seen
that's
that
the one
movie.
that gets into like the big drug addiction.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's
Sherlock.
the 7% Solution.
Yeah.
That was his.
But what he was, he's not like a star. There's like a difference. There's like the star, like say your Schwarzeneggers or your whomever. They play a persona. He was an actor. He could do whatever. Yeah. The In-Laws.
Oh God, yeah.
All you can think of though now is Serpentine.
Little Miss Sunshine. I remember I went to see that movie on like an afternoon, just on somebody's recommendation, and I can't think of a time that I've laughed so hard at a movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I have it. I've never watched it. I gotta watch it.
Watch it. It's just really funny. He plays the grandfather.
I have a lot of movies I don't watch.
It's really funny movie. But
I'm trying to think. Is Jim Carrey in that? I thought Jim.
No.
I'm thinking of
Eternal Sunshine.
You're thinking of Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah.
Which is a Jim Carrey movie I actually like.
Yeah. I don't know. I did not care for it. It was something. It's one of those movies I should probably revisit at the same time.
It's sort of really one of those movies in a way you don't want to revisit for some reason.
One of my favorites.
It's I feel like there's a lot of like kind of weird like female stereotypes it plays in that movie.
I have to watch it again.
Well, a lot of those movies do. Like one of my favorites of his is that Me, Myself, and Irene. Oh my God, that movie is hysterical.
Just a nasty, nasty movie.
Yeah, and talk about there's a lot of stereotypes in that.
Everything, a lot of. It's,
it's like an interesting like for comedy. Like one of my friends swears by Robin Williams, and I always tell him, great talent, but I like his serious roles better.
Me too.
He was really good. Yeah,
and he can be really funny, but like. He's really good in his serious roles, and like some of his other movies that are comedies, they just don't do it that much for me.
Well, a lot of anything that played to his kind of weird, kind of frenetic, like stage persona would get a little tired after a while. But he was he was a really super complicated guy, and
and hairy too.
And boy, yeah.
See, what I heard about him was he was like one guy, he couldn't turn it off. Like if you met him, you'd have to he just could not turn it off.
Right.
And he definitely he had problems with drugs and stuff, but that wasn't like, all that did was just kind of feed it.
I can't imagine a personality like that doing coke or something. Well, I mean, oh my God.
He would do skits about it, though. It's like, I gave up coke because I woke up. No, that was prior to the like cocaine. He used to do he would do skits about it.
Yeah.
He's Robin Williams is in this movie with Ed Norton called Death to Smoochie. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes.
Oh my God.
That is one of those movies.
I love that movie.
It came out. It was a movie that was really panned. It was directed by Danny DeVito.
And it's got that evil stuff going on. That's why I like
Danny DeVito. Yeah, because Danny DeVito has got a incredibly warped sense of humor and always has. But that movie was about the dark sides of children's television.
I know, it's great. I think it's
a funny movie.
I think it's
funny movie.
But it's it made me think of Get Shorty's line now. So glad you passed me up as Eddie Solomon, the pedophile clown and birthday boy on the podcast. No, but I think because I knew some children's entertainers who were total dicks in person.
Oh yeah.
And you imagine all the smiling and everything and.
Right.
I think, and I mean, I've done I've done a fair amount of children's theater performances, and there is something about when you're doing that kind of wholesome family material that behind the scenes it gets crazy. Because I just feel like you have to put it somewhere.
Right.
You can't put it on stage. You have to put it somewhere. So Kingsgate, I've been to some children's theater performances where the backstage antics got a little bit nuts.
But that was
I'm not surprised.
One of mine, because I always like Woody Allen's films, so he's got to be another one who's got to be questionable. But,
nah, I don't think there's a lot of questions.
No, but that's the thing, and I don't. Joel Lansdale said, I do what Joel Lansdale said.
I gotta tell you, I have never been, and I'm not. This is not a revisionist thing. I've never been a big fan of Woody Allen. I've liked some of his stuff, but I've never was a big fan of his classic New York intelligentsia kind of stuff, because I just always felt like these are people that I just hate.
Now you know why.
They're all a bunch of phonies. They're just as they might as I don't know. I just feel like I don't know.
Steve Litvak, the Baron, he likes Kojak and all these he actually watched Bye Bye Braverman recently. He likes just because he grew up there.
No, I get
all that
that's
stuff.
the thing. The nostalgia stuff, I get.
WWOR for me, Crazy Eddie.
That's why, I've always gravitated to more of the '80s stuff, because that's when I was that age, and I remember this stuff. I was little in the '70s, so I remember stuff, but it doesn't have the same huge nostalgia attachments than it was anything before Star Wars was kind of a vague memory, Well, after that, that's when it was on.
It's like in the fog. It's like in the fog. You sort of remember a little bit. Maybe you saw it because my grandmother loved Star Trek, and we used to be on at 7:00 every night. Yeah. So I remember that.
But
But see, I go by Joel Lansdale's thing, with a Woody Allen or a Polanski or somebody.
Sleeper was kind of interesting.
He won't
I
watch
like Sleeper.
But he waits till they die because he won't make any money off it. That's what I said. I won't watch it.
I get it.
I'm the same way like that because I just can't. You have to draw a line. It's everybody's personal choice. But
I don't judge people by their reaction to to performances from problematic people or art from problematic people. Problematic art is one thing, but if the person is problematic, but the art is not necessarily or not at all, you know, it's you know, some people can watch something and see past it, some people can't, and I see both sides.
I've always thought Woody Allen's the neurotic thing gets a little much. Nobody would be quite that neurotic.
Well, also just how, like, you know, the whole, like, he just, it just seemed to be fantasy fulfillment for him.
Always the younger girl,
Yeah, it was always like these relationships he had, didn't seem to make any logical sense. But, well, he wrote it. So, you know, but I don't know. I saw the documentary, the Mia Farrow documentary, and I have no idea, like, you know, obviously no, but everything. I mean, granted, a lot of documentaries kind of are slanted a lot of times to make you feel a certain thing, but the evidence that it brought forward seemed pretty
and I believe
clear.
I believe
and it's you know, it's a hard thing to see past once you've seen it.
Yeah.
I got an interesting thing here. So the other day I was going through some of the streaming channels, right? And on a Roku thing. So I'm looking at all these boxes that some of these channels I've never watched, right? So there was one called Gypsy TV.
Okay.
Or something. Gypsy Fire TV. I don't know, something like that. So
I have to look and see if that is a real thing.
So I loaded it. It's real. So I loaded it, and it's mostly public domain stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of cartoons, the old cartoons, but there was one. It said Time Traveler, and I'm like, okay, Time Traveler, and I looked up the synopsis. And these guys go back in time to like the 1900s, the early to stop a virus. There's a virus, some kind of infection. I don't know.
With the Spanish flu?
I don't know, maybe, but they go back to try to isolate it and stop it. And so I said, that sounds kind of weird, interesting. So it's a 70s movie.
Yeah.
But when I looked at the credits when it started, the story was by Rod Serling.
Oh, okay.
And it was written by Jackson Gillis, who is a huge mystery writer who was like in the Perry Mason thing. He actually wrote a bunch of the really good Superman episodes, the early Superman, first season, second season. He wrote some of the best stories. And so I just thought, wow, it's got a pretty good pedigree. So I watched 20 minutes of it, and I have to go back to it. But it's pretty interesting. But who knows? These things, you never hear of them.
There's so many things, and there's a lot of stuff there was also a lot of stuff that was like produced for television that only aired like one time.
Right.
You want a really depressing Rod Serling, Carol for Another Christmas.
Yeah.
That's real depressing. But I watched Quantum Mania. Now, I had my hopes up for Secret Invasion, but we won't even talk about that. But the only thing, I liked Quantum Mania. I thought, now, is it me? I thought it had like, just the scenery had like a Star Wars vibe to it on the quantum universe. Like with all the aliens and everything else. It had like sort of a... But the only thing was, if Kang's like going to be like this really huge big bad, he was defeated by Ant-Man MODOK, who's so cute. And Ant-Man's cronies. I love MODOK.
I like the character MODOK, but it's just the stretched out Corey Stoll face was hard to look at.
He's like this big evil Mr. Potato Head. I
funny.
Love him.
And the whole thing of it, like, I always love people who are just like, oh, they made MODOK a joke, and I'm like, guys, I don't know to break it to you. MODOK was always a joke.
He's a giant Mr.
MODOK
Potato
was always
Head.
a joke. He was a giant head with he was never. Mechanical, mental organism designed only for killing. Come on now.
You should have
he was never a gritty, serious character. I'm sure somebody wrote him as one at some point.
If superheroes were real, they go and they start laughing at
Have you seen it might still be on Hulu, the animated series with Patton Oswalt?
Yeah.
Was very funny. But
overall, fairly good movie, and I
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, but the only thing now from non-comic book people, Scarlet Centurion, Immortus, Ramatut, the Council of Kings are probably looking like, what the heck's going on? But
yeah, but I think once you it's one of those things where unless you. And honestly, you don't even have to know the background, but if you watch all the things, you can kind of get it. If you saw Loki. And kind of paid attention, you kind of get like he kind of explains what the deal is. But Kang's when they said like the next phase was going to be about Kang, I'm like, that is a tough call, because Kang was a character I feel that was half created just to explain dropped plots in comic books. That was a joke my friend Scott and I always used to have. And always just like, I don't know, when a story went bad, a villain went bad, he just turned out to be Kang. Oh no, he's secretly Kang. He's just a Kang. And then we just pull it into another thing and just
wasn't he responsible like for those Iron Man storylines where it turns out it's his son that's a different Iron Man?
Well, yeah, it was well, also like Kang is he is the descendant of Reed Richards, probably some Tony Stark in there, because apparently the descendants of Tony Stark and Reed Richards just banged a lot. It just made a lot of people in the future. But I don't know. I mean,
it's like DC's multiverse.
They're now writing the whole like potential problematic actor thing. With and I don't know, so much stuff has come out since.
I haven't followed it.
So much stuff has come out since I shot my mouth out. I got at that. I got nothing to say. I'm like,
yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, regardless of what he's already filmed, if he goes to jail, he can't make movies. I don't think he's gonna go to jail.
I have not followed or whatever. Also, and you hear everything online. You know how it is. If you read it online, it's true.
Well, that's the thing. They did that's the Rolling Stone expose that is causing trouble now. But also, I don't know. I feel like Rolling Stone is not what it was.
It's terrible.
No,
Rolling Stone is now like a step away from Twitter.
It's a political thing.
Really,
it has nothing to do with music, hardly.
Really,
no,
if you want to talk serious news, Weekly World News is the way to go. That's the truth.
Why not?
That's when you follow Bat Boy, worship Bat Boy.
That's why I switched to. I've been buying these classic rock and different British music magazines, because there's no politics in it. There's hardly any ads. It's mostly, and they have a gig list in the back, and you can see all these cool places that these bands are playing.
Which is
big
great,
bands.
which is hilarious, because Britain invented tabloid press,
right?
Which is funny, but then again, they also have the Guardian, and they have
Mojo though, like with Mojo, but prescriptions are really cheap, but then they went way up, so I stopped getting it. And everything else. But
I would say Rupert Murdoch got to start.
Speaking of Marvel, I was watching this thing again on that Tubi channel. They have some great stuff.
Tubi's crazy. They got lots of stuff.
They had Chris Claremont's X-Men. Have you seen that?
It's
really good.
Documentary.
Yeah,
I saw that a while back.
It's really interesting.
It was cool. It was just kind of like an overview of.
But you
his
just
whole meteoric run on that.
Those people seem very happy at what they did back then. They were like, oh man, we were bouncing ideas off each other and we were having fun and.
The 70s were a good time for that. There was a lot of creative freedom in comics.
Yeah.
And if you want, you could really, and it was like they had a series, which I personally liked the original X-Men, but it was in reruns because it wasn't selling, and it's like, let's do what we want to do. But one thing I've gotten into just the last couple of weeks, because Indiana Jones came out, was I've been looking at the what ifs, and I love looking at the original movie plans or something, because you don't know if it's true or not, but just what might have been, like for Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but the thing is, I mean, there's a lot of it, there's scripts that are out there, like,
Superman Lives.
Well, that was. Yeah, I feel like I felt it was kind of a cute moment in the Flash that I felt they held on
they went
way too long.
They nodded.
They held on it for way too long.
They nodded on that.
They did more of a nod. It was like it felt like 10 minutes, but it was probably for like 3. It was this whole he was fighting the big spider.
Big spider, right?
But like, I feel like they went intentionally didn't do a great job on the CG on these people, because I felt like they were probably writing, having to get likeness rights, so they looked a little bit.
Yeah.
They looked like a little bit weird, but I think there was an intentional.
Well, I read a few things about that. It looks more like video game stuff than.
Which is
CGI, but
like Avatar.
But I'd like to see the whole. I want to see that movie only because I want to see the George Reeves thing, and I just want how interesting they did.
Yeah, I feel like to me the Flash movie was kind of like a fun look at comic book multiverses. And we're like, hey guys,
tying up loose ends.
We're all taking this a little bit too seriously.
Yeah,
because I've seen people's like reaction to the ending, and I'm a giant spoiler if you haven't seen it.
Shout out for a couple seconds. Don't listen for a few minutes. Come back.
The Batman at
Fast
the end of the movie.
For
when Barry Allen resets the universe, it comes out as George Clooney, and the people are like, "Oh my God, is that the new Batman?" And no, it's a joke, guys. It's a joke. It's fun. Have fun. It's comics.
That's the thing. That's I think we said one of the best. But
it's a breaking the fourth wall thing.
My problem with
exactly.
Ferngully, not Ferngully, Avatar. No, but I've said this about Avatar. I can't talk about the movies because, like, with that kind of 3D makes me sick, so I can't see them.
I don't. Yeah, I just
it gives me motion sickness.
I mean,
that like one of my friends was like, "You have to see the new Avatar movie in 3D."
Well, you can.
There's too much movement.
You can watch it on a regular screen.
Boring.
Yeah,
you can watch it on a regular screen.
Yeah, but it's kind of
also boring.
It's boring. The first one was brutal.
I don't know. I they made such a big deal about how realistic things look, and it also looks like a cartoon to me. And it just look like cartoons. It's fine. I have nothing against cartoons, but let's not say they look real.
I think the technology was the big sell because the first time they did it.
It's the technical stuff. It's the James Cameron.
See, that's where like reading about like, and again they're putting words in like Lucas's mouth though, like about like Return of the Jedi and everything, that he became more interested in merchandise because he was producing the movies and he realized how much they were making. Right. There is the famous quote about Han Solo from Harrison Ford, and I'm going to say it really happened, where he said that Lucas said to him, "Well, dead characters don't sell action figures."
Yeah, well, I mean...
And they didn't know the first movie was going to be so huge.
No,
either.
They didn't.
Otherwise, they were going to extend it out, and he didn't realize how much work it would be to do all the movies.
But also, like, he was doing all this stuff, like, he was doing this stuff outside of the guilds, and how, because he wouldn't, like... He made these movies himself, and then they were distributed by huge companies. So he needed to, like, the money did need to come from somewhere, and it also needed to be going somewhere, because he couldn't, the original movies, like, they weren't made, like, they were distributed by the studios, but he made them. They were basically, like, especially the first one, were like, these are, like, big independent movies.
Right.
And
you made a funny point too. Actually.
And it's just it's an explanation more than an excuse.
Stealing from Facebook, actually, little when you actually the backgrounds of the Bond actors, I thought that was kind of neat.
Oh, that just And
I brought up the one because David did. I guess he did play Bond. But
and let's tell people who don't follow my Facebook.
I'm stealing from Facebook. That's low for.
No, I made a post one day because I was thinking about it, about the 6 actors who played James Bond in the
canon,
quote unquote canon, the Broccoli movies, the Aeon Broccoli movies, not the like Never Say Never, even though that was so one of them. But was Sean Connery, right. Scott, George Lazenby,
Aussie,
Australian,
right,
Roger Moore, English, Timothy Dalton, Welsh, Pierce Brosnan, Irish, and Daniel Craig, British or English. So there are only 2 Englishmen to play the most English character.
Oh, that's interesting.
And 5 out of 6 were British. But I don't know. I've been listening to a James Bond podcast.
I think you're right about Die Another Day though, because it had the thing about I've never been able to finish that one.
It's a terrible movie.
I've never been able, and that's like, View to a Kill, I got all the way through.
Is that the one with Halle Berry?
Yes. Yeah, it's the one with Halle Berry.
Last Brosnan one.
It's the last Brosnan one. It had Madonna doing a horrible, horrible song and having a cameo in the movie that made no sense.
They lost me with the driving on the ice thing. That seemed really really weird to me.
The Brosnan movies were mostly not great.
No, and they don't age well with me either. Why?
Because they were trying to have it both ways. Because they were trying to do a modern, they would try to do it, a modern believable thing, but they would still also have the wacky silly stuff.
Right.
And they couldn't decide what they were going to do. I think GoldenEye is probably the best one.
Yeah. Because
it has the most consistent tone from beginning to end.
Which one?
But the GoldenEye, the first one. Which is still, it's still a movie. It's draggy in parts, and but like like Tomorrow Never Dies is okay, but the other one, like The other ones are just and they got Brosnan late. Like he was supposed to replace Roger Moore.
Yeah, because of Remington Steele.
Because of Remington Steele,
but
which was
supposedly Moore couldn't do when they got Connery because of The Saint.
Yeah.
But they also, there's another point. If you see Daniel Craig,
and Lazenby turned down doing it because he was in his own words became a big hippie and didn't want to kill people.
And I also thought he thought they were going to end too. They were going to end. He thought they were. But the other thing too is like you look at Daniel Craig. He might be the sweetest guy in person. He looks as Bond like he could beat the hell out of you.
Yeah, no,
whereas Pierce Brosnan looks like
right.
Yeah.
But you ever see him in Defiance? That movie Defiance.
Oh yeah,
that's a great movie, man.
He's great. I love Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
And he's funny too. Like the Benoit Blanc movies are hilarious.
I love them.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen Logan Lucky?
No.
If you get a chance, see Logan Lucky because it was Steven Soderbergh's. It was going to be a big movie. It just got marketed badly and people didn't like it. But it was the redneck version of Ocean's 11 essentially.
Nice.
It was instead of like a bunch of thieves steal from a casino, it's like a bunch of rednecks steal from like a racetrack. But like everyone is great in it. Like Adam Driver and Channing Tatum, but Daniel Craig plays this. It's another one of these bananas, really kind of campy Southern guys. You know.
I wonder if that was like a redo of Time to Kill. Is that the name of it? With where they plot to steal from the racetrack. It's like a...
I thought Time to Kill was like a Grisham.
No, I can't remember. There's an older movie, like a 60s or
maybe
late 50s movie about this whole gang, and they have a plan, and they're going to... Elijah, whatever his name is in it, and I'm sorry, I'm bad with names sometimes.
Elijah Wood, it could not have been Elijah.
Not Elijah Wood. Elijah Cook, sorry. Okay. And... Anyway, he's got a wimpy part, like he's a wimpy guy who's trying to make money for his girlfriend and all this. And
look it up.
Look it up because
it's always good for like a left field film you've never heard about.
Yes,
but the ending is one of those. They go through all this crap and get all this money, and it's in a suitcase, and it's on the tarmac on the dolly thing, and it falls off, breaks open, and the plane's running, and all the money goes flying. And these guys, and the ending is them just standing at the door, watching their whole dream just fucking fall.
I know, like, if you want a Bond, like, born right in London, I have an idea, but I won't mention the character. So.
Okay.
Hey, guys. I gotta take my leave.
Yeah. No.
So you know what? Why don't we? Because I think you have to do something too, don't you?
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to, because it's a farewell tour. We want to leave you wanting for more for our next farewell tour. So
wait, my ankle bracelet's going up. Wait, no, I can't go. Wait.
You can't go. But it's been fun. It's been like, and I love how this is like the best one. It's like the carnival. Well, we have stuff to do. Fuck you.
Sorry, gotta go. Leave one more.
Yeah, but you'll be back for another farewell. Your podcast is going well, isn't it?
I'm playing.
We haven't premiered yet, but there's stuff coming on the feed. There's some special preview stuff coming on the feed starting this week. So Architects of Entropy.
And if your show went into as much play as this show, nobody would listen to it.
Oh, you know,
it's like yours is like I'm writing it out. We have all this. We're going to do that. Ours is who the hell's on this week?
Believe me, I could take half of your audience. I would.
I got a crazy weekend next weekend. I got 3 gigs all weekend, 2 on Sunday, something on Friday. All this stuff with Brian Lindsay. All these gigs.
Happy birthday, Brian! By the way,
happy birthday, Brian. Freedom rocks.
Well, next week we're gonna have a really big show. It'll be we'll do a little new math at the show if I can remember to add. I'm kind of old.
Not fuzzy math, new math.
Yes, well we're gonna play now. My good friend Megan Taylor from Beat and Greg's not even going to stay for the song.
I will. I'll listen to it.
He's here.
No, you can leave. The bat signal calls. But
I got to save the world again.
Yeah, her and Pizzuto, if they're on, it'll be hilarious. It's just getting, she lives in New York. She lives in Astoria. And this is called Lights Out, which after this show, you're probably going, oh, I wish this was the farewell show. Thanks a lot, Patrick.
All right.
Thank you, Invisible Greg.
Bye.
See ya.